So, hello everyone. Started with today's topic, that is drug proving. We started with drug proving, that is from aphorism number 105 to 145. In this, we finished up till now aphorisms up to 223, that is from 105 to 223. And today we are going to start with a aphorism that is 224. But before that, we will summarize the aphorisms. In this, we started with aphorism number 105. In this we study what is mean by drug proving and regarding how to gain the knowledge of instrument adapted for the cure of natural diseases. In aphorism number 105 we studied about what is mean by drug, what is mean by proving and what is mean by drug proving. Then in 106 we studied about the knowledge of medicines, that is what is mean by medicines, and the as many as drugs possible must be proved so that we could select homeopathic remedies for almost all natural diseases. So it is regarding the knowledge of medicines and we have to prove as many as drugs so that we could select homeopathic remedies for almost all natural diseases. Then in 107 we studied that proving of drug not on a sick person. So in this they gave the reason why medicines or the drug not proving on a sick persons, because the precise true effects of drug cannot be noted as peculiar alterations of the health to be expected from the medicines are mixed up with the symptoms of disease and can seldom be distinctly observed. So then next aphorism, that is 108, that is regarding the how the drug proving is done, or in this the main point is that the drug proving must be done on a healthy individuals. In 107 we studied the drug proving not done on a sick person, and 108 it is regarding the drug proving must be done on a healthy individual in moderate doses and how the drug proving is done. Then 108 having a footnote, in that in this they explain about it was the only Onhaler besides Master who has done proving in healthy human beings for the past 2500 years. Then we studied the aphorism number 109. It is regarding the credit took by Dr. Hahnemann regarding the drug proving. And in this it was a master who opened up this path of human proving, and it is only by homeopathic employment of medicines that the certain cure of human maladies is possible. Then it having also footnote, that is regarding the drawbacks of the allopathy and the scope of homeopathy and the scripts of drug proving from which it is collected. Then we studied the aphorism number 110 or 110. In this we studied about the how the allopath records the proving of medicines on healthy human beings, and their intention is not to record the record of effect of drug on healthy persons, but few of the recorders have recorded the effect of the drug on healthy persons when drug is taken by mistake or in order to produce the death. So it is regarding aphorism number 110. And one in 111 Dr. Hahnemann gives agreement, that is Hahnemann agrees with the effects of poisons and other which is recorded on healthy person although they were recorded without any therapeutic objects. So it is aphorism number 111. In 110 Dr. Hahnemann not agreed with the recording of the allopath of proving drug on healthy persons, but in 111 he gives the agreement of the effect of the drug. Then in 112 we studied about the primary and secondary action of crude form of drug and in dynamic form of drug. What should be the primary and secondary action? In this primary action, it is the action of drug on a vital force, and secondary action, it is the reaction of vital force against the primary action. And in this, when drug administered in a crude form, it produces the pathological changes in primary action, or if not in a primary action, definitely in the secondary action in a crude form. But after dynamization, due to reduction in quantity of medicine, does not produce any pathological changes, and if slight effect is there, vital force is able to overcome it. So we have to prove the medicine in dynamic form and not in a crude form, as crude form gives the secondary action while proving the drug, and it is very hazardous for the prover. That is, when we prove the medicines in a crude form, that gives the pathological changes in that prover. So this is the primary and secondary action in crude form and dynamic form. It also explained in the, that is, the secondary action is reverse of the primary action, and states which were of an exactly opposite nature to that of the first appeared due to excessively large dose, means proving in a large dose, proving in a moderate dose, and proving in a small dose. As when we prove the medicine in large dose, it gives the both, that is primary and secondary action. In moderate doses, it mostly gives the primary action and sometimes gives the secondary action. And in small doses, it gives only a primary action. Then we studied the aphorism number 113. It is regarding the proving of narcotic drugs. That is, with narcotic drug, you could observe secondary action even with moderate doses on healthy body. So exceptions to this is only the narcotic medicines, as when we prove the narcotic medicine in moderate doses also, it gives the secondary actions. Then we studied the aphorism number 114, and it is regarding the, with the exceptions of narcotic medicines, we observe only the primary action with moderate doses of medicines on healthy bodies. Then in aphorism number 115, it is regarding the alternating actions. And what is alternating action? Where two symptoms of a drug alternates with each other, which are exactly opposite. Many of times physician thinks they are due to secondary action of drug, but they are only due to the primary action of drug. In this we take example as constipation alternates with diarrhea, that is abrotanum. So this is alternating actions, and this is most of the times asked for a 2 marks question, that is what is mean by alternating actions, and you have to explain with example. Then aphorism number 215 we studied. Then aphorism number 216, it is regarding the that is, prove a drug on a group of people and not a individual, because proving a drug we get few symptoms in all the provers, few symptoms on 50% of prover, or few symptoms only 2 or 3 provers. So you have to prove the medicines on a number of people or on a group of people and not on a single individuals. After this we started with aphorism number 117, and it is regarding the idiosyncrasy. And what is mean by idiosyncrasy? Idiosyncrasy means a peculiar corporeal constitution which, although otherwise healthy, possesses a disposition to be brought into more or less morbid state by certain things which seem to produce no impression and no changes in many other individuals. So this is idiosyncrasy. Then in footnote under 117, it is regarding the examples of idiosyncrasy, in which they explain about some few persons are apt to faint from the smell of roses and to fall into many other morbid and sometimes dangerous state from partaking of crabs or the rui of the barbel, from touching the leaves of some kinds of sumach, etc. And for getting of effect of the medicines, two things are necessary. This is most important point in this footnote, that is, for getting the effect of medicines there are two things which are necessary. In this, first one is the inherent capability of the medicinal substance, and second one the capability of the vital force which governs the man. So in this first point, that is inherent capability of the medicinal substance and the capability of the vital force which governs the mass, these two things are necessary to getting the effect of medicines. And in drug proving we are studying the effects of medicines, and for this reason these two things are important. First, the inherent capability of that medicinal substance, that is which properties are present in that medicinal substance, and second one, the capability of the vital force which governs the man, and the capability of the man or the prover on which we are proving that medicines. So these two things are important in these footnotes regarding the idiosyncrasy. Then in this they explain these two things, and so these are good provers. So idiosyncratic peoples are the good provers as they prove the medicines which we give to them, as they give the all the effects of that medicine. Then we studied the aphorism number 118, and it is regarding the individuality of drugs, in which the no two substances in the world are alike. Each, even the two atom of substance are different in structure. So each and every medicines when it proved on healthy person during the state of health of a man in different manner. So each medicines or each drug having their own effects. So every medicine exhibit peculiar action on the human frame which are not produced in exactly the same manner by any other medicinal substance of a different kind. So this is individuality of the drug. Then we studied the aphorism number 119, and it is regarding the individualization of drug action. In this we studied the what is the individualization of every drug action, that is each and every species of plant is different and its external form, mode of life and growth in its state and smell from every other species and genus of plants, as certainly as mineral and salts differ from all the others in its external as well as internal physical and chemical properties. That's why they are having their own individualizing pathogenetic properties, which differs from all other drug substances, as each and every medicinal medicines having their own effect on a particular individuals, as their internal and external physical chemical properties are different, so they produces the different pathogenetic effect on a individual. So their individualizing drug action is also different, so we call it as a individualization of drug action, that is explained in aphorism number 119. Then in 120 we studied the regarding the careful drug proving, how the drug proving is done. In this, as each and everything of a man, that is death, disease and health, all these three things are depends upon the medicine. So medicine must be tested carefully in order to get correct knowledge of their signs and symptoms. So we have we you must be careful while proving the drug, as man's death, disease and health, all these things are depends on a medicines. So the medicine must be tested carefully in order to get the correct knowledge of their signs and symptoms. This is aphorism number 120, that is importance of careful proving of drugs, that is medicines on which man's life death must be thoroughly and carefully distinguished from one another, tested by careful pure experiments. Then we studied the aphorism number 121, and it is regarding the drug doses for proving. What should be the doses of drug for proving? And in this they explain about the strong heroic substances, milder substances. In these strong heroic substances are liable even in small doses to produce changes in health even of robust person, that is when we use the strong heroic substances their dose must be a small, or in a small doses they also produce the changes in health even of a robust person. And second one, that is milder substance in more considerable quantities in order to observe the action even in the very weakest person, that is when we use the milder substance of that drug we have to take the considerable quantity, that is more quantity of drug is required, and that must be in a very weakest person also, though. So the subjects of experiment should be free from delicate, irritable, and sensitive. Then we studied the aphorism number 222, and it is regarding the proving of a genuine drug. That is, medicines, which medicine should be used to prove. That is, no other medicines should be employed except such as are perfectly well known and whose purity, genuineness, and the energy we are thoroughly assured. That is, which medicine should be used for the proving. In this, we have to use that medicine which is perfectly well known to us. We have to know their external character, we have to know their internal character, what are their physical qualities, which are their chemical qualities, all the things we have to know, and their we have to know their whose purity and genuineness and energy we are thoroughly assured that the medicine which we use, it must be pure, it must be a genuine medicines, and it having a energy which we thoroughly assured. So it is regarding aphorism number 222, and in last lecture we studied the aphorism number 223. It is regarding the preparation of medicines to be proved. What should be the preparation or methods of preparation of medicines to be proved? In this they explain about the medicines must be in a perfectly simple unadulterated form. That is, the medicines we use, it must be in a perfectly simple unadulterated form. That is, it cannot mix with one another, or there not be a mixture of one or two substances. It must be only single medicine, or it must any unadulterated form. Then second one, indigenous plants. In indigenous plants in the form of freshly expressed juice, and we have to add a little alcohol to prevent it spoiling. In this, when we use the indigenous plants means the plant which are available at a place of proving, or we may call it as a native plants. So when we use the native plants or indigenous plants, we have to collect them in a fresh form, and we have to freshly express their juice and mix them with a little alcohol to prevent the spoiling. This is the first method for an indigenous plant. When we use the exotic vegetable substances, means the substances which are not available at the site of a proving, they, they are they are important from the other places. In this, in the form of powder or tinctures prepared with alcohol when they were in the fresh state, and afterwards mingled with a certain proportion of water. So when we use that medicines, that must be in a powder form, and we have to mix them with a little alcohol when we collect them in a fresh state, and afterwards, after some time, we have to mingle with a certain proportion of water. Then when we use the salts and gums, in this case we should dissolve in water just before being taken, as the drugs in a form of salts and gum, that must be dissolved in the water just before being taken. And lastly, when we use the dried drugs, that is, the plant which are dried form, they must be cutting the herbs into small pieces and pouring boiling water on it so as to extract its medicinal parts. Immediately after its preparation, it must be swallowed whilst still warm, as all expressed vegetable juices and all aqueous infusions of herbs without the additions of spirit pass rapidly into fermentation and decomposition, whereby all their medicinal properties are lost. So what to do for the dry drug substances? We have to cut them into small pieces, and we have to pour a boiling water on it, and we have to extract its medicinal part, and immediately after preparation we have to swallow it, as when we keep it for some times there may occur their decompositions or fermentations. So we have to use them immediately after the preparation. So this is the method of preparation of drug for proving, for indigenous plants, for exotic plants, that is foreign vegetable substances, for salts and gums, and the dried drugs. So this is aphorism number 123. Then today we are going to start with aphorism number 124. I explain you the different parts of drug proving. It having a number of aphorisms. So we divided them into parts. In this we studied the aphorism number 105 to 110. It is regarding the to study the pathogenetic effect of a drug. Then second part is from aphorism number 111 to 120. It is regarding the primary and secondary action of drugs. Then third part is aphorism number 122 and 120, 121 and 122, the ascertainment of doses of medicines for proving experiments. That is, what should be the doses of medicines for proving experiments. Then next part, that is fourth part, that is method of preparation of drugs for proving experiments. Now we start with the fifth part of drug proving, that is what should be the precautionary measures to be taken during the proving experiments. That is from aphorism number 124 to 127. I again repeat it, the fifth part of drug proving, aphorism number 124 to 127. It is regarding precautionary measures to be taken during proving experiments. What should be the precautions taken during the proving experiments? It is regarding the medicines to be proved, and it is regarding the prover. These are the two precautions we are going to take regarding the medicines and regarding the provers, and that are explained in aphorism number 124 and 1 to 127. Means aphorism number 124, 125, 126 and 127. These aphorisms are related to precautionary measures to be taken during proving experiments. So starting with this fifth part of drug proving, that is precautionary measures to be taken during proving experiments. In this first we see the aphorism number 124. So first we will see what is the aphorism number 124. In this, the administration of prepared drug. For these experiments, every medicinal substance must be employed quite alone and perfectly pure, without the admixture of any foreign substance, and without taking anything else of a medicinal nature the same day, not nor yet on the subsequent days, nor during all the time we wish to observe the effect of the medicine. So this is aphorism number 124, and what it explained, that is the medicines we use for the method of drug proving, or the precautions while proving a drug. The medicinal substance must be employed. It must be a single medicine. It must be a perfectly pure medicines. It must be a without any admixture or without taking anything else of a medicinal nature on same day or subsequent day, not during the experiments. So this is explained in aphorism number 124. That is the medicines which we are going to take for the experiment of drug proving, that medicine must be a single medicines, that medicine must be a perfectly pure medicines, that medicine must be without any admixture of any other substances, that we cannot mix that medicines with other drug substances or anything else. Then the next point is that medicine without taking anything else, as while taking that medicine we cannot take anything else of a medicinal nature on the same day or subsequent day, nor during the experiment. Means if we took the medicines today, so we have do not take anything else of medicinal nature on the same day and on a subsequent day also, nor during the experiments. That if we take the medicinal nature substance other than the medicines, that may affect the action of that medicinal substance. So during the proving of the drug or during the whole experiments, you cannot take anything else that having a medicinal nature. So this is the fourth point, that is regarding the using of medicinal substance during the drug proving or precautions while taking the drug proving. In this, the medicine must be alone perfectly pure without admixture, without taking anything else of medicinal nature of same day or subsequent day, not during experiments. This is aphorism number 124. Then aphorism number 125. So what is the aphorism number 125? 124, it is very small aphorism. Then aphorism number 125. First I will read the aphorism. During all the time the experiment lasts, the diet must be strictly regulated. It should be as much as possible destitute of spices, of a purely nutritious and simple character. Green vegetables, roots, and all salads and herbs, soups should be avoided. The drinks are to be those usually partaken of as little stimulating as possible. So, what is explaining in this aphorism? That is aphorism number 125, that is regulation of diet while proving the drug, or diet must be free from these things. What should be the diet during the proving process? In this, it should be as much as possible desti- destitute of spices, of a purely nutritious and simple character. Green vegetables, roots, and all salads and herb soups, which even when most carefully prepared possesses some disturbing medicinal qualities, should be avoided. The drinks are to be as little stimulating as possible. And it having a footnote. In this they explain about what to take during drug proving and what not to take during drug proving. In this, green vegetables allowed, young green peas, green French beans, boiled potatoes, and in all cases of carrots are allowable as the least medicinal vegetables. And secondly, the subject must either be not in the habit of taking pure wine, brandy, coffee, or tea, or he must have totally abstained for a considerable time previously from the use of these injurious beverages, some of which are stimulating other medicinal substances. So in this aphorism they explain about the what should be the diet and regimen during the drug proving, and in this they gives precautions regarding the diet, that these diet must be free from these things. In this, diet must be free from spices. Then diet must be purely nutritious. It must be simple. It should avoid the green vegetables that having a high medicinal properties. Then roots and all salads, herbs, soups, and stimulating like coffee, beverages, wine, tea. All these things should be avoided during drug proving. So in this they allow only a green vegetables which having a less medicinal properties. In this they add, that is young green peas, green French beans, and in all cases carrots are allowable. And the list list medicinal vegetables, and the subject must not, either be not in the habit of, that is the prover must not take the following things, that is pure wine, brandy, coffee, tea, and he must have a totally abstained for a considerable time previously from the use of these injurious beverages, some of which are stimulating, others are medicinal. So these things avoided during the proving experiments. So this is regarding the diet of prover, aphorism number 125. So this can be asked as a question as what should be the diet of prover during the proving experiments or during the drug proving. So it is explained in aphorism number 125. Then in 126 it is regarding the qualities and the regimen of a prover, that is what qualities are present in a prover and what regimen he should follow during the proving experiments. And in this, first I will read the aphorism number 126. In this they explain about the qualities and regimen of a prover. Aphorism 126: the person who is proving the medicine must be preeminently trustworthy and conscientious, and during the whole time of experiment avoid all overexertion of mind and body, all sorts of dissipations and disturbing passions. He should have no urgent business to distract his attention. He must devote to careful self-observation and not to be disturbed whilst so engaged. His body must be in what is for him as a good state of health, and he must possess a sufficient amount of intelligence to be able to express and describe his sensation in accurate terms. So, in this aphorism number 126, it is regarding qualities and regimen of a prover. In this, they explain preeminently trustworthy and a conscientious in sixth edition. That is, the prover must be trustworthy, worthy, on which we may faith, and it must be a conscientious, that is, very diligent person, having all the ethics and a pure person, and avoid all overexertion of mind and body, all sorts of dissipation and disturbing passions. That is, during the proving experiment, he should avoid all the mental and physical exertions or over exertions of body and anything that dissipate or disturbs his passions of proving. Then he should have no urgent business to distract his attention, that is during drug proving he should not have any urgent business to distract his attention. He must devote himself to careful self observation and not be disturbed while so engaged. Then his body must be in what is for him a good state of health, and he must possess a sufficient amount of intelligence to be able to express and describe his sensation in accurate terms. That is, his body must be in a good state of health and he possesses sufficient amount of intelligence. That is, what changes occurred in the body, they can be very well noted by him. That much sufficient amount of intelligence must be present in his to be able to express and describe his sensations in accurate terms. So these are the qualities of qualities and the regimen of a prover during the drug proving. And aphorism number 127, it is regarding the proving and gender preference, means it is regarding the on whom the drug is proved. In this, Dr. Hariman explained as the medicines must be tested on both males and females in order also to reveal the alterations of the health they produce in the sexual sphere. Means there is no any difference of gender, that is regarding the medicines proved only on males or it is proved on only on females, but each and every medicines must be proved on both sexes. That is, drug proving must be done on both sexes for the reason that proving of drug on males and females in order to get idea about the sexual symptoms of male and females genitals, prover should belong from both the groups. That is, the medicines must be proved on both sexes to get the idea about the various sexual symptoms pair both on male and female. So medicine must be proved on both sexes and not on a single gender. So this is the aphorism, that is 127, regarding the proving of drug on both sexes. So these aphorisms, aphorism number 124 to aphorism number 127, This is the fourth point of drug proving, that is, we divided the drug proving into different parts. This is the fifth part of drug proving, the precautionary measures to be taken during the proving experiments. And in this you have to remember there are main 2 points in aphorism number 124 to 127. In this, regarding the what should be the precautions regarding the medicines and the precautions regarding the prover. In this, the what yes, can I audible?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
So in today's lecture we finished the aphorism number 124 to 127, and these are the precautionary measures to be taken during the proving experiments. and in this mainly two points are there. First, precautions regarding the medicines to be proved, and second one, precautions regarding the prover. So in this, regarding the medicines, what should be the precautions? I will again repeat it. Regarding the medicines, what should be the precautions? In this, every medicinal substance must be employed quite alone and perfectly pure, without the admixture of any foreign substance, and without taking anything else of a medicinal nature the same day, not yet on subsequent days, and not during all the time we went to observe the effect of the medicine. These are the precautions that we took during the, that is regarding the medicines while proving experiments. Then second are regarding the prover. First we see the precautions regarding the medicines. Now second point in these aphorisms are precautions regarding the prover. The, what should be the precautions taken by the prover? In this, first, during the whole period of the experiment, the diet of the prover must be strictly regulated. It should be as much possible destitute of spices, of roots and all salads and herb soups. The diet should be of a purely nutritious and simple character, consisting of green vegetables. Then second point regarding the prover is that the prover must either be not in the habit of taking pure wine, then brandy, coffee or tea, or he must have to- totality abstained for a considerable time previously from the use of these injurious beverages, some of which are stimulating other medicinal. So the habit of the brewer must be a good habit. He should not take any pure wine, brandy or coffee or tea, as these substances may alter the action of the medicinal substances. So these substances must be avoided during or previous the proving experiments. Then the third point regarding the prover is that the prover must be preeminently trustworthy and conscientious. The person who is going to take part in a proving experiment, that person must be a trustworthy. He has faith on a trust, or we can faith on him, and he must be a conscientious, that is a diligent person, very sincere person, do each and everything according to rule and follow all the rules of drug proving. So the prover must be a conscientious. Then the fourth factor regarding the prover is that during the whole period of proving, he must avoid all overexertion of mind and body, all sorts of dissipation and disturbing passions. That is, he has to avoid all types of exertions, that is regarding mind also and regarding body also, and that there not be anything else that dissipate or disturb his passions of drug proving. So he avoid all types of overexertion. Then next point regarding the prover is that he should have no urgent business to distract his attention, as he should regulate his timetable, as during the proving experiment there should no any urgent business to distract his attention from the drug proving. Then he must be very self observing and introspective, that is, he has that much attention to his body that each and everything changes in his body he can note it. That is, he has a self observing power, and introspective means what is internal changes or what body changes in his occur, he can very well note it by him. Then he must possesses a sufficient amount of intelligence to be able to express and describe his sensation in accurate terms. So he must possess a sufficient amount of intelligence, means he has that much amount of intelligence that he can express his sensation in accurate terms. What are the sensations, what are the symptoms he feel, he can describe it very well. Then the last point regarding the precautions of the prover is that the medicines must be tested on both males and females in order to ascertain especially the changes in the sexual sphere. So we have to prove the medicine on both the sexes and not on a single sex, as we have to ascertain especially the changes in the sexual sphere. So medicine must be proved on both the sexes. So these are the aphorisms. Aphorism number 124 to 127 regarding the precautionary measures to be taken during proving experiments, and in this mainly two points regarding the medicines, precautions regarding the medicines and precaution regarding the prover. So today we finished these aphorisms, aphorism number 124 to 127. If anyone having any difficulty can ask. Understand everyone?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes,
Yes,
ma'am.
ma'am.
So up till now we finished aphorism up to 127. So this is fifth part. First part aphorism 105 to 110, pathogenetic effect of drug proving. Then aphorism number 111 to 120, it is regarding the primary secondary actions of drug. Then aphorism number 121 and 122, that is ascertainment of the doses of the medicine during proving experiments. Then 123, it is regarding the methods of preparation of medicines or drug. And the fifth part is that the precautionary measures to be taken during the proving experiments. Then the next part 128 to 132, it is regarding how to conduct the drug proving. This we see in next lecture. So up till now everyone understanding? If you have any difficulty you can ask me on just now also, or you can ask me personally by message also. So we finished the today's lecture. Then who is roll number 35?
Ma'am, me, Syed Mehak.
Yes, understand what is.
Yes, ma'am.
1 minute. So what is explaining in aphorism number 107?
107. Uh, in 107, he explained the drug should not be proved on sick person. मतलब, because if we prove the drugs on the sick person, the symptoms of the drug which we are proving will be mixed with the symptoms of the person, uh, symptoms of the disease. So it should not be mixed, and we will not get the proper drug proving. We will not get the proper symptom. So it should not be proved on the sick person. It should be proved on healthy human being.
Okay, good. Next roll number 36.
Ma'am, 36 is Sayyid Afrin. She went out because
30,
due to some emergency issues.
37.
Yes, ma'am.
Mariam.
Neha.
Neha. Yes, what is explaining in aphorism number 110?
110. Examination of the source of ordinary materia medica.
और
Hmm?
एफोरिज्म में क्या एक्सप्लेन किया है 110? मेन थीम क्या है एफोरिज्म की? what is given regarding the allopathy? That is recording of symptoms of healthy human beings. So it is the aphorism that is regarding the effect of drug on healthy human beings in allopath. Allopath cannot record the effect of drug on healthy human beings. They collect the symptom from taking that medicines or the poisonous drug by mistake or for the purpose of suicide, and then they record the symptoms. This is explaining aphorism number 110. Yes, who is next roll number? "38, 39. Who is 38? Sheikh Fatima. Yes, Sheikh Fatima. Mariam, what is your roll number?
Ma'am, 40.
Who is 38, 39?
39 फातिमा है.
38.
38 नहीं याद है मैम.
प्रेजेंट नहीं है. 39 फातिमा. I think she left. Yes, Mariam. What is explaining
Yes ma'am.
in aphorism number 115?
115.
Sorry. 250. Sorry, 150.
Ma'am, alternating actions. That is when two symptoms of drug alternates with each other. For
Yes.
example, constipation alternates with diarrhea.
Yes.
So this is alternating action.
Yes. Who is roll number 41?
Ammar है.
Sheikh Hamar. Yes, Sheikh Hamar. "42.
मॅम मी
तू झाली का मागच्या लेक्चरला?
हा हा मॅम.
So okay, we will stop here. All of you understand or any query?
No, ma'am.
No, ma'am.
Okay, shall we end the meeting?
Yes ma'am.
Yes मॅम.
So okay everyone, bye.
Bye ma'am.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, ma'am.